Martha, come and join me. I can't think of anyone I would rather spend the next 10 minutes with. So for those who
I
don't...
thought for sure that Manny was going to offer me a beer, but...
I'll tell you what, on my time difference, I've normally drank a whole bottle of wine by now, so I'm really, really struggling. Those who don't know Martha, you should. She's extraordinarily knowledgeable about the whole insurance technology innovation space. She's the general partner, is that right, at Brewer Lane Ventures? Look, I've got lots of questions for you. We're going to spend some time on some, and then we're going to rush through the others. Never come between a man and a decent bottle of... The wine here is excellent. Look, you and I have been doing this for quite a long time, by which I mean insurtech and investing in insurtech and so on. What do you think would be the biggest lessons we've learned from the last 6 or 7 years? Because there's plenty.
Yeah, I think that there are really a couple of lessons. In the beginning, I think everyone thought that tech would be the answer for all insurance. And if you just called it tech, first of all, you get a huge multiple. And this was in the days when we thought that WeWork was a tech company, not a real estate company. So context. But I think that what people got wrong was, first of all, it has always been easy to sell insurance. What is hard is to sell profitable insurance. And I think that the tech companies fell exactly into the same pit that many, many new companies have. And then I think the other thing that they didn't really take away was how hard and how expensive it was going to be to build to scale in terms of the top line. And I think that that has been a real quagmire because you spend so much money on your engineers, which basically insurers aren't, that's an extra line of cost that traditional insurers haven't got. And then you also are employing some of the same people that the traditional insurers are. So you need scale in order to get to that little thing, which also at the beginning, profit seemed sort of unfashionable, but venture capitalists have kind of come around to that as well.
I think I blame you Americans for that. I think that was driven by a lot of, not yours of course, but venture capitalists coming in and setting a sense in which that was the way to go get market share.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that venture capitalists are huge on pattern recognition, but the problem with pattern recognition is you have to make sure you're using the correct analogy. And I think that there was a lot of belief that you could use a tech model, a SaaS model, and apply that to insurance, which isn't a SaaS business. Now, there are some SaaS technology services businesses, but I think that really it was just a question of using the wrong lens. And the excitement around the $5 trillion of premium in insurance, which honestly a lot of VCs still think is revenue, so.
Yeah, they still do. So where does that leave us now? Because neither of you nor me are glum about this. There's lots of opportunity here. Where does the opportunity lie? Where are we sort of in the cycle?
Yeah, I mean, I think actually the guests that you've had today actually speak a lot to where the opportunity is. The insurers really haven't been able to move themselves forward in a lot of these areas. So I do think that there is a lot more opportunity in terms of serving insurers and providing them with a technology. Now, even so, I think that there were some lessons from InsurTech 1.0, which is apparently you can't just go in, tell people that the way they've been doing it for 100 years, they're idiots, and that if only they use this bright, shiny new technology, all would be well. But I think that if you can go in and say, I can save you money, I can save you time, and you can measure it, then I think that you can get people's attention. And also I think that insurance has changed, where there is much more of an openness to start to listen. You have people who are in roles that have the word innovation in them. You have people who are running parts of the business who are coming to the end of the day saying, how can we do this better? And I think that there is more interest in partnering with people externally in terms of startups.
And people like me have learned a lot and can provide some advice. So I spent the whole of my 40s telling the insurance industry it was idiotic and it was all going to change and the internet was going to change everything, and then I spent the rest of the time siding with the industry and trying to help out from the other side. So biggest opportunities now, do you think, where are you going to put your money? You and I have had a little talk about how what's happening in general insurance is starting to feed out into P&C. Tell us about your theory there.
So I do think that P&C and specialty insurance are huge areas. I think there's a lot to be done there, both in terms of the data that gets used and the analytics that get used there. I think that one of the things is solving harder problems is actually one of the ways to create more value. And I think that that is one of the things we look for in terms of companies. And we are looking at also quite basic things like underwriting better, looking for a more efficient fixing of claims. We have some companies that are already doing that, particularly in the health insurance space. But we also, think that there are silos within specialty insurance that are huge. And then I think the other place that we have found a lot of opportunity is connecting the various people and the various players within this market in a much more efficient way. And I think one of the speakers before was talking about APIs, and all of a sudden that sort of changes, that changes the whole playing field, because no longer are you having arguments with potential customers about how long it's going to take to integrate. You can sort of skip that part of the conversation, and I think that really is helpful.
We've reached the stage where I've got lots of questions and not much time, so we're into the quick fire rounds here. Any particular technology or solution that you get really excited about? So not a problem, but a bit of technology.
Look, AI is definitely the answer to a lot of these questions. And there are some very basic parts of AI. We kind of talked on this a couple of times around, it's not just Gen AI. This is shining a spotlight on natural language processing and machine learning, which are tried true. They don't hallucinate. And I think there's just a huge, this is a time for those businesses to shine, even if they have to go in behind the mask of Gen AI.
That's really nicely put. But I think most of the discussions today have been around saving underwriters time, summarization. Can they do decisioning?
I think they can do decisioning, and I think that one of the things that we've seen quite successfully is seeing a product which essentially is what is the next best action. So very much, again, on the augmentation, not forcing that action, but recommending an action immediately. And I think that that is the kind of thing that, first of all, will allow you to go into an organization, and second of all, really sets up the ability to start standardizing some of the ways that you operate.
I don't want to end on a negative note, so this is not your last question. But what troubles you? Anything that you think that storm clouds lie ahead?
Well, it's funny you should say storm clouds, because in fact, the thing that keeps me awake at night is the existential effect of climate on property insurance. So yes, I worry about that all the time. I'm looking for opportunities in that area. And I think that we have now passed the point of anyone thinking that that's not a problem, certainly in the insurance industry. And if you look at State Farm's results that were announced this week, if anybody has any doubts, the impact is huge. And in fact, you also have the head of the Fed coming out and saying one of the core problems is how much of our economy is uninsurable. So we've always known that insurance is important to the economy. I think now people are really getting that. So I think it is literally an economic crisis.
Will that make insurance and insurance people more popular, do you think? will people actually like us now that we can have a problem to solve?
That would take a lot. That would take a lot. But I do think that the question of boringness, which is sort of where we started this whole topic on the Wall Street Journal, telling us that insurance should be boring and not exciting the way that Silicon Valley likes things. I do think that it will. First of all, I think Gen AI and other AI will allow people to be less boring in their jobs and do fewer of the boring jobs. So actually, we can repurpose people's brains to work on bigger problems. So maybe they won't be more popular, but I think that they'll be smarter and coming up with better answers.
You know, I really can't think of a better way to end than the idea that we're going to work in an industry where we're no longer slightly embarrassed to mention it around the dinner table, and we're actually popular, and it's not boring. So if tech can solve any problems, it's solving those problems, and I'll send you away happy people. Martha, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.